Good morning, everyone. Hi, this is Otis Burt III, and I just wanted to say I'm sorry for how my last video ended, but I'm going to continue doing my my predictions for this 2012 Major League Baseball season. And where I left off at was I was talking about the Dodgers. I'm now at the National League West, and I was talking about the Dodgers, and I was just saying how they have they're gonna have excitement going into the season, with new ownership, the Magic Johnson group. And even though that they have excitement going into the season, I don't really see them doing much this season overall because they're still kind of a fourth place team to me. I mean, they have great players such as Matt Kemp, Andre Ethier, and also Clayton Kershaw, but their team overall is okay. So but they'll probably be in the race a little bit. And actually they'll probably be in the race till at least August, I think. But I mean they'll probably be somewhat of a factor. They'll probably be tough for the Diamondbacks. They'll be tough for the Giants. Sadly, they'll be probably tough for the Rockies too. But I think they won their first game of the season yesterday. But I think they'll be a fourth place team overall. Which I don't really see them doing much, even though they have excitement, with new ownership group, and they'll probably do things next year. But as of right now, I think they'll be a fourth place team. Um, in last place on this division, I'm going to go with the Padres. I'm sorry, Padres fans, but the Padres obviously are building right now. I mean, they traded Matt Latos to the Reds, and they got some players in return. They got Edison Volquez, who pitched yesterday. They also have they also got Yonder Alonso, who's like I guess first baseman outfielder. He's gonna play first base for the Padres, I think. But yeah, and they got some other good players or prospects in the deal too. And but the Padres obviously are building. I mean, they have Cameron Maybin, he's a tall guy, but he's fast. He's a leadoff hitter. He's a center fielder. He'd be a good guy. He would have been a good guy for the Giants to get. But yeah, the Padres have him in center field, and they also have Chase Hetley. So they're basically rebuilding right now. But yeah, they're I think they'll be in fifth place in the National League West. So I think the Diamondbacks will win this division, sadly. But I think the Giants will be the second place team in this division as one of the NL wildcard winners. As far as the National League Central goes, I'm going to go with the Reds, and that's kind of a surprising pick because the Cardinals won the World Series last year, but the Cardinals, losing Pujols, might hurt them, even though they still have a good lineup, and they added Carlos Beltran, and they still have Matt Holliday, they still have Yadier Molina, they still have last year's World Series MVP David Freese, they still have Lance Berkman, but but and of course they also have in their rotation they have Adam Wainwright, and they have and Chris Carpenter, starting the season injured, but I mean the Cardinals are still a good team. I don't know if they'll win that division. I mean the Reds have great offense, but excuse me, the Reds have a great offense. Of course, Joey Votto got his new deal, and they have Brandon Phillips, Drew Stubbs, Jay Bruce, and of course in their rotation they have Johnny Cueto. They have Matt Latos now. They also in their pitching staff they have Aroldis Chapman, who pitched in the bullpen yesterday in their game against the Marlins. But yeah, I think the Reds are the best team in the National League Central right now. So I think the Reds will win the division. To see Baker's Reds will win the division, that win the NL Central. I think the Cardinals will be the other NL wildcard team, and they'll be second place in the NL Central. Third place in the Central will be the Brewers. I mean, they'll probably be in the NL Central race too. But I mean, losing Fielder will definitely be a blow to their offense. Um, and Ryan Braun, I mean, he could probably have a good year, but with all the steroids suspicion, or him being suspended, even though the suspension got upheld, but with all the steroid stuff, who knows if he'll have as good of a year this year. And they have Nigel Morgan, also known as Tony Plush, from the Bay Area, but I mean, I don't think they'll both be able to carry the offense. They also have Ronald Ramirez. He'll probably be okay, but I don't know. And they also have Corey Harding. I think he's starting the season injured. But the Brewers, I mean, they're a decent team, but I don't really see them doing anything this year. Of course, they have Gallardo in the rotation, as well as Sean Markham. I'm trying to think else in the rotation. Randy Wolf. I know I'm forgetting somebody. Oh yeah, Zach Greinke. But I don't know. The Brewers are probably the third best team in that division right now, I think. So I don't really see them doing anything. But they'll probably be in the essential race. As far as fourth place team in that division, I'm going to go with the Chicago Cubs. I'm sorry, Damon Bruce, but the Cubs. I mean, they might be rebuilding too right now. They didn't really do a whole lot this offseason, really. Like nothing really, like noteworthy, really. But the Cubs are probably the fourth place team in that division right now. Fifth place, I'm going to go with the Pittsburgh Pirates, even though they might be an up-and-coming team, but they're still, no offense to them, they're still the Pirates. I'm sorry, Pirates fans, of the Pirates will probably be fifth place in the National League Central. As far as the last place team, the sixth place team in that division, I'm gonna go with the Houston Astros. And the Astros, they might be one of the worst teams in baseball. They probably will be the worst team in baseball this year. They don't really have. I mean, they're pretty much a minor league team at this point. I mean, I'm sorry, Astros fans, but the Astros they just aren't really that good, really. I mean, you look at their team, and it's just a bunch of, younger players, and they look like they're going to be rebuilding too. And and sadly for them, this is their last year in the National League. They're going to go to the American League West next year, and it's kind of too bad. It's like the Astros seem like a National League team, but it's too bad they're going to be going to the American League West next year. But yeah, so sadly for Astros fans, this will be the last year in the National League, and the Astros going to be a bad team. So I'm sorry, Astros fans, but the Astros will be the sixth place team in the National League Central this year, last place team in that division. So I'm sorry, Astros fans. As far as the National League East goes, I'm still going to go with the Phillies in that division. I mean, yeah, the Phillies have injuries to to Ryan Howard and to Ryan Howard and to Chase Utley to start the year, but they still have a decent team. Ryan Howard will probably be out till May. I'm not really sure about Utley, but they still have Shane Victorino. They still have Hunter Pence. They still have, they signed Jimmy Rollins to to a new deal. They have Carlos Ruiz, and of course their rotation is still really good with Roy Halladay, with Cliff Lee, with Cole Hamels. So they're still a really good team, in the National League East. So I still think despite the injuries, I still think they'll win the National League East. My second place team in that division will be the Atlanta Braves. I mean, the Braves didn't really do a whole lot this offseason either, but they still have a decent team overall. With Tim Hudson as their as one of the main starters, of course. They have Jason Hayward. This is Chipper Jones' final year in the major league, so we'll see what he does this year. He's starting the season injured, but he should have a good year this year. And the Braves have a decent team overall. I think they'll be the second place. They'll probably be in the National League East race for most of the year, but I think they're probably the second best team in the National League East right now. And third place, I'm going to go with the Miami Marlins, the new look Miami Marlins. Of course, not the Florida Marlins anymore, which is kind of weird. But they got a new stadium, new uniforms, even though the new uniforms are kind of ugly. But they have a nice stadium. They changed the name to the Miami Marlins. So I think they'll definitely be in the National League East race as well. They have a lot of decent players. With Giancarlo Stanton. I mean, he was known as Mike Stanton last year, but I guess his real name is, or his first name is Giancarlo Stanton. So they have him. They have, of course, they added Jose Reyes. They added Heath Bell. They moved Hanley Ramirez to third base. Who else they have? They have Mark Burley, who pitched yesterday, I think. They have Josh Johnson, of course, is the rotation. I mean, the Marlins are they going to have a good future, I think, but they're probably the third best team in that division right now. But they could be a surprise team where they stay in the race for a lot of the year in the National League East, the Miami Marlins. But yeah, so and as far as the fourth place team in that division goes, I'm going to go with the Nationals, the Washington Nationals. They're another kind of up and coming team too. They have with Steven Strasburg, with who else they have? With Bryce Harper eventually coming up. Ryan Zimmerman. They have Alan Roche as well. And they have a good. They're a good up-and-coming team. Michael Morse, but they're probably the fourth best team in the division right now. Of course, they have Jason Worth too, and they won yesterday against the Cubs. But they have a good start to the season so far. But yeah, so I think the Nationals will be the fourth place team in the National League East this year. And the last place team, I'm going to go with the Mets. I'm sorry, Mets fans. That's them being the last place team in New York probably isn't going to go well for them this year. But just the Mets aren't really that good. They won yesterday to beat the Braves yesterday. But I mean, they don't really have a whole lot. I mean, they have David Wright. They have who else they have? Excuse me. They have Ike Davis. They have of course former Giants Andres Torres and Ramon Ramirez. Andres Torres got injured yesterday, sadly, he's going to go on the DL. But I think Torres will play most of the year for them. Who else do the Mets have? Of course, Yohan Santana. He made his return yesterday. But other than that, they don't really have a whole lot. And the Mets, they might be rebuilding now too, I guess. But yeah, the Mets will probably be the last we've seen in that division. So I think the Phillies will win the National League East, and of course my wild card winners are the Giants and the Cardinals. But yeah, so those are on my these are my 2012 Major League Baseball season predictions, or my regular season predictions, and yeah, so hopefully this will be a good season for the Giants. The Giants opening day is today. They play the Arizona Diamondbacks later today, so hopefully the Giants win today, and hopefully they have a great season this season. And the A's open up tonight against the Seattle Mariners. So yeah, of course opening day for a lot of teams was yesterday. The Major League Baseball season opener. this week was the Cardinals and Marlins this past Wednesday, and of course last week the 2 games in Japan between the A's and the Mariners. But yeah, so it'll be interesting. It's the start of baseball season, so it's like yeah, it's exciting times. So yeah, hopefully it'll be a great baseball season this year. Go Giants, and yeah, and peace and God bless, and happy Easter too. It's Easter this weekend as well, and yeah, peace and God bless.